My name is Geoff Young, and I'm running for Congress against the incumbent Republican Andy Barr. I'm a Democrat. Now, there are maybe a few things wrong with the Kentucky Democratic Party. Last year, we had our statewide annual convention in Louisville on June 4th. We have a convention only every 4 years. This was my first convention ever. I'd never been to one before. I'd always been a Democrat or a Green for 4 years, but I never went to a Democratic convention before. So I just went because I've started to run for office. About midway through the convention, former Governor Steve Beshear happened to be standing near a microphone, and he said to the 1,500 Democrats sitting in that hall, "I want to call Sandy Overly and Neville Blakemore back up to the podium." Now, earlier in the day, we had heard that Sandy Overly had been elected chair, and Neville Blakemore had been elected vice chair of the Kentucky Democratic Party. When did this election occur? We never found out. Nobody knew, except the few high-ranking Democrats who were in the know. Steve Beshear says, "I want to call Sandy and Neville back up to the stage. I'd like you all to ratify them as chair and vice chair of the Kentucky Democratic Party for the next 4 years. All in favor?" And there was a great cheer. "I don't even want to hear the no's," Steve Beshear said. And I'm standing over there in the corner, waving my arms, trying to nominate myself. Too late. Too late. They had been installed. There's no election, no speeches, no campaign statements, no thought. It was all over in a few seconds. So that's how Sandy Overly and Neville Blakemore became chair and vice chair of the Kentucky Democratic Party, 4-year terms. I didn't think it was right. A few days later, I appealed that decision to the executive committee of the Kentucky Democratic Party. And a few months after that, they decided to have a hearing, but it was a kangaroo court. There was no real hearing. There was no real justice. Apparently, if a Democrat wants to appeal a decision of the Kentucky Democratic Party, they might as well just forget about it. So, I was forced to file a lawsuit in federal court. I'm not an attorney, but I put together a lawsuit last August 2016. The case is still active. It has not yet been resolved. The complaint is right here. If you want to read it, you can go to my website. You can contact me through Facebook. And I posted it on Dropbox. You can read the whole complaint and decide for yourself whether you think it has any merit or not. I think any political party that is legitimate ought to have a way to appeal decisions of its executive committee. And any political party that is legitimate ought to have fair election procedures and not just a railroad, as I feel I saw on June 4th at the statewide convention. Maybe you haven't heard about this in the media. If you find this interesting, ask any reporter you know, why haven't they been covering this lawsuit? I think there's a media blackout in Kentucky on this particular lawsuit. When I talk to members of the executive committee of the Kentucky Democratic Party, they're always talking about turning our party around from our recent defeats. How can we turn the party around? How can we start winning again? I have a question for them. How are we going to turn the Democratic Party around and start winning again if it becomes common knowledge among the people of Kentucky that the Democratic Party is allegedly more corrupt than the Republican Party of Kentucky? That's my question to them. And if you know any leaders in the Democratic Party, why don't you ask them that question also? How can we succeed again if we're more corrupt than the Republicans? My name is Geoff Young, and I approve this message.